think there's a quick video that I have.
You don't need to be a genius to realize that Trump's not talking about babies that come from Norwegian vajayjays. No, he wants to white out the Constitution so that he can whiten America. That's what he's planning to do here.
All right, I just thought since, the South Africans are in the news, I would play that. I had a question for you, Mr. O'Brien. Is the Equal Protection Clause part of the 14th Amendment, yes or no?
Yes, it is.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. McCotter, is the Due Process Clause part of the 14th Amendment, yes or no?
Yes, although each clause uses different language.
Yes, I do know, but thank you for that. I ask those questions because I have heard no objection from this body, no quarrel, no disagreement with the fact that the Equal Protection Clause and the Due Process Clause are embedded in the U.S. Constitution through the 14th Amendment. In fact, this country's president, that so many revere, has invoked the Due Process Clause on the regular, as he should, because it is his right. And he has in fact showed the country how due process works when applied without prejudice. If only it would work for the rest of us like that, but I digress. The point is, those tenets are here to stay with birthright citizenship. So I want to talk about the times that gave rise to the 14th Amendment. It was 1868. There was the aftermath of the 4-year divisive, destructive Civil War that killed roughly 750,000 soldiers, or 2% of the population. Resistance in the form of Reconstruction, a massive tsunami in a soon-to-be U.S. territory that killed 70 people, and in the aftermath of the 1868 Louisiana Constitution, which gave black men the right to vote and a public education, you had the Louisiana Massacre, where black people were murdered trying to vote. As people would say from my hood in L.A., the white folks went cray cray. And in spite of all of that, white congressmen showed up in 1868 to debate the 14th Amendment because in the midst of the madness and violence of the time, it was that important. And it passed with birthright citizenship, those 3 clauses. And these tenets forever changed this country. The 14th Amendment is a pillar of American law in a good way, and it has been for 160 years. Everyone recognizes that it should not be touched, that it is sacrosanct, even Justice Scalia. And Scalia, whose ideology I do not support, his reasoning is that the full 14th Amendment, which includes the Due Process Clause and the Equal Protection Clause, as well as birthright citizenship, was based on originalism, textualism, and traditionalism, and that one should consider the political and intellectual climate, beliefs and prejudices of the time it was ratified, and the amendment should be protected, which is why it is worth revisiting 1868, because the origin story of the amendment is as applicable now as it was then. You had a Democratic president impeached in 1868 and a Republican president impeached in 19 and 21. You had political violence in 1968 with the Louisiana Massacre and an insurrection that happened here in 2021 where Capitol Police were speared with American flags. You had a tsunami in Hawaii in 1868 and a fire again in 2023. You had an economic turndown in 1868 and you have $15 eggs under Trump right now in 2025. Same environment, toxic, hostile, destructive, deadly. And let's be clear, they had immigrants back then too. Irish, Jews, Germans, Italians, people who couldn't speak English, but they saw through the moment and passed the 14th Amendment. And it's not like this country has not had moments where people have felt under attack. We've had Jim Crow, World War II with the Germans, McCarthyism, the Japanese in internment camps, the Vietnam War, and birthright citizenship has survived all of that. And now, not because of war, but because somebody can't get a job at Walmart because of xenophobia, fragile ego, and mediocrity, we are going to look for culprits instead of protecting the Constitution. It is the epitome of lazy. And if they could put the 14th Amendment in the Constitution during those hostile times, we can keep it in law during ours. The climate is not different. It is the patriotism of the Republican Party that is different.